So we want to understand that in a way that we can apply that practically in our lives. So this achieves perfect distribution of charge in the vacuum and neg entropy in general. And this is just our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dan Winter Fractal Field, 2 million views. So if we knew how a plasma vortex becomes centripetal, we could then understand first why objects fall to the ground. We could understand how shaman steer tornadoes get centripetal, how Therify plasma creates neg entropy and rejuvenation in 25 countries. We could understand what an elemental is, a living plasma entity. We could understand what creates life force in a seed. Why does triggering a seed capacitively to be centripetal, which pyramids did and Therify does, create such an exponential increase in growth, because the centripetal force in the seed is what makes it alive. We can understand out-of-body visions, lucid dreaming, and all action at a distance. If we understood longitudinal interferometry, we can understand how hydrogen makes gravity because it's imploding and squirting out a longitudinal wave at the center, sometimes called a gravity wave. We can understand how a soul forms in DNA, how the Nazi bell flew, how a vortex makes gravity, how zero-point energy works, how consciousness... You see, there's so many things we could understand if we understood one simple principle, perfected implosive charge collapse. And that's our task here today. See if we can make our slides work here now. One moment. There we go. So it's because Einstein, your physics teacher, and Stephen Hawking could not teach your child why an object falls to the ground. If your science teacher had been able to do that, then you could learn how anything becomes centripetal, how a plasma becomes mindful, that the universe is not condemned to entropy. Your physics teacher was wrong when they said the universe is tending toward entropy. No, there's a way out named neg entropy, self-organization. And why fractal, perfect conjugate charge compressibility, implosive charge collapse, is the only cause of gravity, neg entropy, and all forms of sustainability, defining environmental quest, and even why a negative ion wind would create healing. So this is the path. You've all seen these pictures. This is how the golden ratio makes that caduceus of perfected charge collapse. And here's our proof by equation that this is how hydrogen is built. You take Planck times integer exponents of golden ratio, in this case 116, 117, 118. You get the three primary dominant ionized hydrogen radii precisely with incredible accuracy, proving that hydrogen is fractal, and that's how it makes gravity. And so these are our publications in this field. And you can see all this at fractalfield.com/vacuum energy and conjugate gravity, our publications. Basically, it started with the concept that mathematical equations prove golden ratio is the generalized solution to constructive wave interference. That's the breakthrough moment when you could understand why an object falls to the ground. The moment you prove that golden ratio is the generalized wave mechanics solution to maximum constructive wave interference, literally eliminating destructive interference. Then you've answered Einstein's question, perfect non-destructive compression, which he himself said is the cause of gravity. And the reason that causes gravity is and visualize now, this is the cone down hydrogen radii, literally, by equation, proven that the translation of vorticity on that hermetic caduceus cone converts the transverse EMF on entry on the left, squeezed, precisely tuned to the Planck threshold right here at the tip of the pine cone kissing. And at that Planck threshold, there emerges from transverse EMF into longitudinal. And that longitudinal wave can go faster than light. We now know its golden ratio multiples times the speed of light, as Professor Raymond Chow measured. And that longitudinal wave is sometimes called a gravity wave, incorrectly called a scalar or torsional. And the propagation of that longitudinal coherence also happens to be the physics of how humans lucid dream and take memory through death. So entering that longitudinal ray is the critical component. This is well known in fractality and African architecture. So, and here are some examples of commercial success in our work converting this theory of implosive charge collapse to a successful commercial enterprise. We've done it in Therify plasma. We've done it in water, Implosion.com. We've done it in brain waves. We've done it in heart rate variability. And we're about to do it in LENR and cold fusion, literally. And thanks to Roger Green and our team working intensely in cold fusion research. So the key to non-destructive charge collapse defines alchemy and cold fusion, because literally what cold fusion is implosive charge collapse. These are just the pictures of how we've done it in water. This is from theimploder.com, our new wonderful ultra imploder, theimploder.com, thanks to Jason, fractalwater.com. And this is showing how we converted that equation for that vortex into, let's see if that's, it even, so there is the vortex. That's an example of taking a theory of implosion and turning it into a commercial success doing implosion. That's the centerpiece of all our imploder technology right there. And you see what that is. If that water vortex becomes piezo, then that charge vortex is going to make voltage from gravity and literally be the key to Schauberger's dream and all of the all the wonderful technologies that result from understanding actual implosion. So let's see if we can advance the slideshow here now. Wait one moment. Okay, the other examples we want to talk about is Therify.net. So we took that frequency signature, stuck it into plasma, and commercially doing rejuvenation and pain reduction in 25 countries. And again, the core principle here is that implosion. And here are pictures of that frequency signature. So Therify was started with the work of Antoine Priory, famously in France, who had healed thousands of cancers documented by the government. He was using these frequencies, 3, 10, 32, and 80. And the day we discovered that his frequencies from Lakowski and Rife were very close to my equation, golden ratio times Planck, origin of negentropy, was the day we started building Therify. And interestingly, the Priory device also was famous for causing plants to grow, as now is being documented for Therify in the University in Germany and elsewhere for plant growth. So the triggering growth is triggering this centripetal force. Now, there isn't time here, but we're also applying this commercially in the world's most powerful bliss binaural beat, flameinmind.com, the flame and sound option there, which now drives 5 different technologies creating implosion commercially. Quantify, 5vibes.com, and the new piezo healing technology. It's amazing. And plasmafire.com. So you're going to hear more about that in the coming days, as that software is actually radically being developed right now. And so that's how we measured life force. We took that same technology, flameinmind.com, the brainwave transducer, and measured harmonics in a tree and harmonics in a building, improved life force. So this is the flame and sound option for flameinmind.com, right now undergoing a radical new development, because we've discovered that you can tune that Planck cascade, not just by golden ratio times Planck, but there's 2 ways to calculate Planck time, h bar, and if you use both cascades, and then there's a third way, which is that the actual Schumann harmonic cascade, and we have pictures here. The Schumann harmonic cascade 7.83 is slightly different than the frequency of pure implosion, 7.29 hertz. And when you use that cascade upward, which the pyramids did, you can actually produce better grounding. So there's ways to tweak that implosive cascade powerfully. We're going to talk more about that. This is from the Flame and Sound software site. So here you see on top is the actual harmonic cascade of implosion, Planck times golden ratio, 2.78, 7.29, 11.8. And the real harmonic cascade of implosion from Schumann is 7.83. So you take that difference, 7.29 versus 7.83 as ratio, and then you can see why we're measuring 53 and 28,000 hertz at the pyramids, like with Sam and Bazia, because the Schumann cascade is close to, but not precisely, and you can use the real Schumann for implosion if you want to do grounding, for example. It's a very powerful concept. So again, this is all coming soon in the Flame and Sound software, Flame and Mind. Amazing. You can take that implosive sound driver and do, like, we've already got about 6 technologies using that, including Therify, but now soon it will be piezo, pain reduction, and less expensive options. It's wonderful. Here we're applying that into physics of photosynthesis. Note that the equation Planck times golden ratio predicts exactly the harmonics of photosynthesis, proving the reason photosynthesis is negentropic is pure phase conjugation tuned to Planck. That's a radical new concept in life force.